there and the village manager. And we know for a fact that's what happened. Because only one attorney showed up to give you that report. And you know how it showed up. And I'm saying to you, Maywood, stay woke. And Willie Lynch is here in the village of Maywood. And I say to the board, have any of you called our Attorney General? Because some of us here in the village of Maywood have called him and let him know that the village of Maywood needs our Attorney General to show up in Maywood. And the mayor is still driving your truck, which you have paid $50,000 with. Thank you, and God bless you.
Mr. Thompson?
Good evening, board. Good evening, family. I'm Mr. Thompson. Oh, happy Father's Day to the fathers out there.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'm Mr. Thompson. My father and I have been tax-paying citizens of this village spanning nearly 5 generations of our family. I'm not here to talk about me, but to and on behalf of my extended family, Maywoodians. We have seen dysfunction on our board for a long time. No need to rehash the past at this time. Excuse me. However, I might add, if we do not acknowledge and heed the warnings of the past, we sacrifice growth and progress to a doomed ideology that has already proved fruitless for prior incarnations of this board. When will we get it right? Maybe tonight's the night. But where should I start? Should I begin with the botched hiring of our village manager? Or should I begin with the subsequent special investigation initiated by that village manager? Or maybe I should begin with the mayor's recent DUI arrest and a taxpayer's response. After careful consideration, I've decided not to harp on these topics. Although they are present, they will be addressed, and every individual found culpable will be held to account. So say the taxpayers of the village of Maywood. I choose to begin my focus directed squarely at you trustees. I must address you as a collective, as of the nature of your position. All this mess is your fault. Period. But to be fair, I must also commend those trustees who have personally witnessed addressing the concerns of the citizens. I salute you, gentlemen. I see you. The community sees you. Keep fighting the good fight for the citizens of our village of eternal life. Let me just add, I don't mean this to be an us versus them or a young versus old. This is about right versus wrong. Politicians understanding their roles and taxpayers flexing their real power. Full disclosure, in my over 50 years in this town, I have voted for everyone on that dais, except for you. You were appointed to fill Trustee Booker's vacant seat. I choose today to give a little lesson in civics. Off topic, but quick question. Do you guys remember, well, at least the ones who went to provide Zoe's, do you remember the huge class showcase that was positioned outside the principal's office on the 2nd floor? It showcased outstanding students of our beloved proviso. Yep, the moment I saw it, as a wide-eyed freshman, I wanted to be in it. Eventually I did, beginning my sophomore year. And can you guess what for?
Time.
Couple more seconds, please.
You better try to stick to the 3 minutes. You can ask for 3 more minutes. They can
Can
vote on
I
it.
have more? All right. Can you guess what for? I'll tell you. Best citizen. I know, right? What the heck is that? What is a best citizen? Long story short, here's the lesson, short and sweet. For those of you up there who think that this mayor, or any mayor for that matter of fact, is your boss, you are sadly mistaken. I am. And so is every other citizen who pays into this corporate mechanism called the Village of Maywood through property taxes and land ownership. You should not be making any votes on this board without first consulting your constituents, us, the Village of Maywood. After you've consulted with us, tally your votes and make your vote. In conclusion, I come not to browbeat, but to offer solutions. I was in the voting booth with my father when he, along with the vast majority of this community, decided to switch to village manager.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
You just said a couple of more seconds. We really do try to stick to the 3-minute time.
I'm in my last paragraph. In conclusion, I come not to browbeat, but to offer solutions. I was in the voting booth with my father when he, along with the vast majority of this community, decided to switch to the village manager form of government. It was enacted to prevent this sort of embarrassing fiasco from ever occurring. You have collectively found a way around checks and balances through your manufactured 4-3-4 majority. You guys want to go down in Maywood history, you will, one way or the other. My advice to you is be on the right side of history if you want to continue to enjoy our little village that could. We need an ordinance on the book right now where any publicly elected official of the Village of Maywood can be recalled or relieved for gross official misconduct. It's that simple. You have a choice. Do it yourself and go down on the positive side of Maywood history by enacting this ordinance that protects taxpayers and their resources from grift, mismanagement, and exploitation, or go down on the negative side of history where we, the citizens, have to demonstrate to you publicly where the power lies in this village. I urge you all to do it yourself. Try to save some face, save our town from further embarrassment. If you do not, we, the citizens of the Village of Maywood, will do it for ourselves.
Teresa Wilson. You know. Hello to the Village of Maywood, to the mayor, and to everybody up there in the front who is in charge, and all of the citizens. I am Teresa Wilson of T&JJ's. My husband, Joe Wilson, is my partner. And sorry to come behind all of that, but this is about my business, and I really wanted to just talk to the police. Mr. Willis, thank you so much for helping with the village, with the parking, because I had a problem with the parking, and a lot of the people were staying over there, parking overnight, and I do jazz, and I do banquets, I do a lot. And then I have also a problem with the people that are parking there, leaving stuff outside. Tons of food. I'm closed at 3 o'clock. I got Church's Chicken outside, I got Burger King. These people parked all night, and I have a lot of trash. So I'm out there in the morning myself cleaning up, because I got a jazz set on Sunday. So it's a lot of little things like that, but I really appreciate your help, because I did have a call this morning. Someone came, because they parked there all morning, and I had all these deliveries coming in, and all these cars are parked right in front of my door. So I appreciate that. I also appreciate my help over there, I'm forgetting your name because I'm crazy right now, for helping to keep my alleys clean, because they're dumping in the back of my restaurant and also across the street at that new building. As far as the new building is concerned, there are people who just come in and they just park and don't ask anything and don't help when it comes down to me just asking them, please move. And then they want to curse me out. So it's nothing you all can do about that. But these are just some of the issues that I'm going through, and I just wanted to speak on it. And I really appreciate it, if any way possible, that I can get a garbage can by my building used to be one there between AutoZone and me. And when I get outside, it's all this food from churches and everywhere else and anything else in front of my building. So that's a little difficult. I don't know if I can still get anything like that, or if the building across the street can get one. But they do need a garbage can, because people, they just throw this stuff outside. So I appreciate that, and thank you for your attention, and hopefully we can work on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gloria Clay.
Good evening, board. I have a couple of questions, but before I'm not going to get off into politics, political. Everybody has their own opinion about what's going on. I just need to let the people know, and let you know, that Mayor Booker is not the only one on this board that's had a DUI. He's not the only person that has had one, and I'm sure those without sin cast the first stone.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you. Thank you.
He knows he was wrong. I'm sure he made the apology, but he's not the only one. And those that are here know who I'm talking about.
You know.
So, therefore, I'm going to ask the mayor. LRS, LSR, whatever the garbage people say, what is the protocol for picking up limbs and falling branches and that? On 6th Avenue in the 18th, in my block, there's a couple of houses that's got branches out there. It's been there for almost a month or so. Be waiting for the storm starts. I need to know if I can let them know what is the protocol for those branches laying there, and does LRS, LSR, whatever they are, do they pick it up? That's the one question. And I do have a question. This is going out to all the citizens of Maywood. I looked at the view that the mayor had for village-wide Village Pride. Village Pride begins at home and spreads abroad, for those that don't know. To come out and help him a park or a room or just one part of the Maywood, that's fine, it's beautiful. But if it begins with you at your own house, pick up, cut your grass, pick up around your own home. If you pick up around your own home, the village of Maywood will stay clean. But you have to first do your job. That's the job. You know, that's village pride, is taking care of where you live and taking care of your own responsibilities, not wait for someone else to do it. I would feel very foolish if I saw someone picking up cans in front of my house when I lived there. So if you go outside and there's a can there, pick it up and put it in the garbage. That's village pride, village-wide, taking pride in where you live and taking care of where you live. Don't be so concerned about the mayor. He's going to be all right. So just kind of look at yourselves and ask yourself, am I the one to throw the first stone? I know I'm not. Thank you.
Redmond?
The name is Redmond. This is where the rubber meets the road. The whole world saw it on national, international news of the mayor of Maywood, Nathaniel George Booker, drunk and sleeping in the middle of the expressway in the early hours of the morning. I bet they're also watching to see how this board is going to handle this. Will you continue to allow this man to endanger his life as well as the lives of others? Or will you insist that he turns over the keys to our car and get treatment? Show the world how you condone poor judgment. Tell the people and your children and the children that look up to him that it's okay to break the law. Tell your children you got their backs even if they're wrong.
You stand by them, even if they kill someone, you'll fight for them, right or wrong. Tell your children, the world, and the world, this type of behavior is okay. The ball is in your court. By the way, I suggest background checks before handing out cars at the expense of our taxpayers. Trustee Reyes Plummer, you said you were one of the ones that called the various meetings, yet you didn't show for the last one. You and others didn't have the courtesy to even phone in. Some people might not realize what is going on here, but we know how the game is played. We know that some of your relatives have jobs or businesses dangling over your heads. If you don't cooperate, you got a lot to lose. FYI, don't get caught in the wrath of an angry God. Everybody here, myself included, is going to answer to God for everything we do in this body. Make no mistake about it. Nobody's throwing stones at the mayor. We all make mistakes. But correct that mistake. You said you're responsible for bringing in that village manager. That does not solve the problem. And the attorneys that did the investigation, tell the whole truth. We paid you about $100,000 for that. About $100,000 for that. We paid $50,000 for the car. How much we gonna pay for all these suits that we're gonna have? Oh, and another thing too, clerk, you need to find out what your job is. You're supposed to be taking notes. You ain't supposed to be up there fighting like a big dog with the rest of the trustees. That's not your job. You gotta lie.
There it is. There it is.
That's not what we say, it's how we say it. Maurice Davis. Good evening. Good evening. The Board of Trustees, here, right here, we're going to pick up my hand. Okay, so, real quick, I will not belabor the time because everybody's been long-winded prior to public comment. One thing this administration has run on is transparency. You could give them a copy of that because they seem to have forgotten what the definition stands for. Because this administration has been very cloudy with innumerable executive sessions that the citizens do not ever get a report on. This is probably the first one since this administration has taken office that we've actually gotten some minimal information. Next thing, I would like to know the abatement schedule for village-owned vacant property. I would also like to know what is the status of the disaster declaration related to the storm last week. What does that include? How will it benefit the residents of the village? And will it assist any residents who have storm damage to property? Also, to follow on some of the other citizens, when will the downed tree limbs throughout this village be picked up? And the surrounding villages, within the days following the storm, you could not tell that any damage had been through there because all of the limbs were picked up. But yet we say we want to attract new businesses to this village, but we have dead, broken tree limbs everywhere you drive. Why would somebody want to come to a village and we won't even clean up after the storm that has come through in our area? We want you to come in, we want your business, but our house is not clean. Next, I would like to know the street sweeper schedule and the map. Are the street sweepers functioning? Because we have not seen one in my area, and it is evident with the amount of trash on the streets. And yes, my neighbors and I, we are out there faithfully picking it up, but it seems that the village is not. Next, what is the schedule for the cleaning of the sewer drains? Because every time it rains, the village floods. And that is due to the amount of crap that is in them, due to the failure of the street sweepers to come through to pick up the trash. Related to the village vehicles driven by staff other than the police department. Are DMV abstracts pulled before keys are handed out? How often are these abstracts pulled, if at all? Next, finally, the status of the commissions and committees in the village of Maywood. I went to the village ordinance, and I noticed we only have one commission, the Commission of Community Relations.
But when I go to the village website, it gives me a list of village boards and commissions. And then I look at ordinance CO-2021-19, where all committees, commissions, and boards were dissolved. I have yet to find one where they were reinstated. And I have here, in the middle of this page, that all of the trustees voted to dissolve them, but yet the citizens are asking why. That they're not getting any answers. And I know that page might be a little cluttered, so it's nice enough to put out your signatures there so you can see them. And I'm sick of the excuse. Some people say, questions are asked, well, I don't know, I'm not for sure. For those of you, Proverbs 4 and 7, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get an understanding.
Thank you. Okay. Miss Loretta Robinson. So the first thing that you spoke about was the repossession of the car in regards to the insurance. There's been no change to the insurance. So I wasn't quite understanding when you were talking about the insurance. But again, I guess like we're in the United States. And I guess the whole thing is like, you're deemed innocent until proven guilty. And honestly, the only thing I'm asking for is that I actually have my day in court. Because nobody in this room was with me on that night. Nobody knows what the outcome of that case will be. I can't speak on it right now. But literally, I am asking for 10 days to actually have the United States government of Cook County actually make a verdict. This board is not the court of law in regards to this case. And I understand that it is embarrassing. I understand that it is frustrating. I understand that it is something that nobody in this room would want to wake up and see or experience for their town. But I really do pray and ask for the 10 days to actually have my day in court to address this situation.
Okay, good.
So the town hall about the POCO survey, had nothing to do with the board meeting that was called. The POCO survey, town hall, was a completely different flyer at a completely different time with a completely different setting. We've been talking about the POCO survey for a few months now. We've had community meetings about the American Rescue Plan Act. There have been in-person meetings about the Rescue Plan Act. There's been information put out in newsletters about the American Rescue Plan Act. There's been various community meetings about the American Rescue Plan Act where it was discussed during various meetings with the community. So to say because one meeting was not attended by a board member when the POCO survey is specifically about the American Rescue Act, that's not fair. So when we talk about the board meeting that was called, that is a completely different thing from the POCO town hall. Okay, so the board meeting, the actual board members that had that meeting were notified by legal, and they were notified by the clerk's office that they did not have a quorum. So they were notified 4 days before even coming into this dais, acting as if they were going to have a quorum. They were notified that there would be trustees out of town. They were notified that there would be trustees in the hospital with their loved ones. They were notified that that meeting would not have a quorum to take place 4 days before it even happened. They were notified by legal and by the clerk's office, not by myself, not by anybody else on the board, that it would be an Open Meetings Act violation to continue with that board meeting. That has absolutely nothing to do with the POCO town hall that took place.
I'm aware of that.
So if you're aware of that, I want to make sure, because you're saying you guys didn't show up. Well, we didn't show up. That was a special board meeting that they were trying to call. That had nothing to do with the POCO meeting. We've attended multiple POCO meetings. We've had multiple community meetings about POCO. But realistically, They were notified that the board meeting aspect that they were trying to have was an Open Meetings Act violation.
But they didn't have an open.
What I'm saying is the fact that they were discussing things. Again, I'm just saying the meeting in itself was notified that it would be an OMA violation,
They
right?
made it very.
So that's all I'm saying. But to say that we chose not to come, they were notified that people weren't
All of
coming.
this is political. They did say at the very beginning, we will stay and entertain any questions. However,
Mhm.
and if the clerk had remained, which she did not, which also made it not an open meeting act violation, because the clerk had left.
Right,
and
because the
she
clerk's
made it
office, I
clear
don't want to
that
go
it
to
was
Ms.
not-
Robinson, I really don't want to get into back and forth.
Well, the
All I'm
clerk-
saying is the clerk left because the clerk was here for the town hall. It was not an official meeting. But the meeting in itself that was called was an OMA violation because they were notified that they did not have a quorum. I will leave it at that.
Let's leave it at that.
Mr. Thompson, thank you for your comments. Mayor Perkins, thank you for your comments. Ms. Wilson, we'll look into across the street with the street garbage. We will contact the building owner, Perry, again to talk to him about the trash because, again, they did hire somebody to start doing the clean around in the morning. Are they not doing that anymore?
They do that, but a lot of times after I'm open, he might be over there, I'm open during mine. So
Okay.
he does it here and there.
Okay.
You know, it does happen.
All right, I'll follow with Perry. Okay, Ms. Clay, LRS is not responsible for the tree limbs, so that would be with the Public Works Department. So you can report it in My Civic if there's debris, like there's an option to report as debris in My Civic. If you're not using My Civic, you can always report it to Ms. Banks. So Ms. Banks, you can contact our Community Engagement Manager at lbanks@maywood-il.org, or you can call 708-450-6366. Ms. Redmond, thank you for your comments. And then Ms. Davis, we'll look at getting the abatement schedule for the village-owned vacant property. For the storm response, the declaration of emergency has already been signed and submitted. We have a meeting tomorrow with all of the mayors, the county, the state, and the federal in regards to what can be done in regards to it. Today is the deadline that the Illinois Emergency Management Association had to submit different findings from an insurance claim standpoint to see what would be able to be done in regards to that. So once we have that meeting tomorrow night, then we'll know more answers from a federal, state, and county standpoint about what could be done. But, I want to say, when we talk about when you drive through other communities, I won't name the other communities because everybody is still dealing with cleanup right now. But I most certainly was on the phone with 4 different mayors right now that are still cleaning up debris. And that 2 of them even still have residents with no electricity. So to say that the village of Maywood is the only one that's still cleaning up is not an accurate statement. We are out, the Public Works team has been out in extended hours working overtime. Our Public Works Director brought in additional help and services from a third-party vendor to get it done. The reality is the village of Maywood is the largest community in Proviso Township. So when you look at even surrounding communities that have 1/4 of the size of our residents, they are still doing cleanup today, and they're still going to have more to clean up tomorrow. And we are having conversations daily about this cleanup that's taking place. So I don't want it to be the narrative that the village of Maywood is the only one still doing cleanup, because that's just simply not true. For the street sweeping schedule, definitely posted information in regards to the street sweeping taking place. If your street has not been street swept, again, that is an option to report it in My Civic. And then also there's the opportunity to talk to Ms. Banks in regards to things that are not being done. While I definitely applaud and appreciate residents getting involved in making sure that their block is taken care of, if there is a service that our tax dollars is paying for that's not being provided, please contact the departments and please contact Ms. Banks to let her know, because we do have the street sweeping. Like, I can say that there's definitely times that I've asked about the street sweeping, but it's definitely been more frequent than it has in the past. So if there are street sweeping issues in your area, please let My Civic know, or please let Ms. Banks know. Commissions and committees. So the board actually established committees last year when we started this administration. So we have 6 different committees that consolidated about 17 different commissions. So the committees meet on a monthly basis. The committees have a chair as a trustee and a co-chair as a trustee, but then each committee also has a department head that serves on it as well. So for those 3 individuals that serve, that is a time with residents. It's open to the public. It's posted on the village websites. The trustees are available to be contacted in regards to their respective committees at any time via their cell phones for trustee line or their trustee emails. So the committees are established. They do have meetings. If residents would like to be involved, they are more than welcome to come. All 6 of the committee meetings take place right here in this dais, and they are posted within regards to making sure Open Meeting Act is followed. The commissions that are still in existence, there isn't a Community Relations Commission, but Police and Fire Commission just gave their report today, so that's a commission that's still in existence. Liquor Commission is still in existence. But you do have committees that meet as the board and as department heads on a monthly basis. So that is all I will give. That completes my comments in regards to public comment.
Unfortunately, there is one more
Wait a minute.
because what is happening,
Sir,
this is United
sir,
States,
chief,
everybody got
chief,
a freedom of speech.
chief.
Oh, yeah, you don't allow us, they don't give us any other option.
Commander Stylus, can you open up that door right behind you, please? Just trying to keep the air into the heat area. Trustee Brandon, you want to have a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to provide some clarity in regards to the meeting that was called on June 4th. The meeting that was called, the last special meeting that we had, and the reason why it was called. So on June 4th, our village board had a special meeting on that Thursday before June 4th. That meeting was an emergency meeting that was not scheduled, that we made way for ourselves to be able to attend that meeting. And following that meeting went into about 1:15 a.m. in the morning to the next day, which was that Friday morning. And of course, some of us have jobs to go to. There was another meeting called that Friday. The meeting was called for June 4th at 10 a.m. in the morning. That meeting at 10 a.m. in the morning was to discuss items pertaining to the interim village manager, who today is Chief Willis. And so we were informed at that particular meeting that Chief Willis would be the interim village manager. Some of my colleagues voted in favor of it, and some of us voted not to go along with that idea, just because we were concerned that we were moving to the summer months. And we know that in the village of Maywood, the summer could be very much chaotic. There was also concerns about a letter that we had received that, the mayor had stated that Chief Willis was appointed to the position. He had accepted the position of interim village manager. We then received a letter stating that that was not true, that the Chief Willis had declined the position. So at this particular point, we are without a village manager. So I stated to some of my colleagues that we need to have somebody in place ensuring that the day-to-day operation is moving forward. And so we did that, and our recommendation at that particular time is to look at our finance director, who is Bonnie Satchel, who has served in the world before. And so it was my hope at that particular time that my board colleagues would have the same energy they had on June 7th morning at 10 a.m. to attend that particular meeting to identify someone to serve in the role. Because after we received a letter from Chief Willis stating that he had declined the position at that particular time, that we needed to move in a different direction to identify someone else within the village of Maywood to act as interim village manager. And so later on, I guess Chief Willis changed his mind and decided to accept the role. That Friday morning after we had our meeting and seeing that we was in a rock and a hard place, he stood up and took on a challenge. And we thank Chief Willis for doing that. But that was the purpose of the meeting. Of course, we could go into deep detail about it. There were some other items that was on the agenda. My colleague on the board, Trustee Jones, some of you guys know this, I like to put it all on the table because I truly believe if you don't put it all on the table, we could never move forward in the right now. And so Trustee Jones did, stop us from going off track in regards to communicating anything that would be in violation of the Open Meetings Act. And so that's what happened that evening. So again, it was my hope that my board colleagues would have showed up to address the issue in regards to the letter that we all had received from Chief Willis. They did not, and so we carried on and turned it into a town hall. This is not a new situation. The mayor hosted a meeting, did not have a quorum at that meeting. What did he do? Turned it into a town hall. So I too read the letter that was sent out on village letterhead stating that individuals had broken the law. That is not true. It is just simply not true. And if they watched the tape or if they were attending the meeting, they too would know that it was not true as well. So as we move forward, Maywood, it's important that we correct the course that we're on and make sure that we put it all on the table so we can see what's happening and then correct it and then move forward in a better manner. And so I just wanted to make sure that I communicated why that meeting was called, and the purpose of that meeting was simply to address emergency issue that was at hand. Just like we had the emergency that Saturday morning at 10 a.m. to identify an interim. So I just want to make sure that that was.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I know this is not what residents want to hear, but it is about 10 o'clock, and we do have 2 interviews that we have to do for a long-term interim village manager as we do the national search for a permanent village manager. So we do have to go into about a 20 to 30 minute closed session. And then we'll come back and control the rest of the meeting. Trustee Brandon.
And I want to state my submission in regards to choosing an interim village manager. And let's just break out the meter really fast. So the meter is running in regards to how much money we're spending on taxpayers' dollars. We have someone within the village who could fill the role as an interim village manager who has the experience. So right now, let's look at this bigger picture. They would, if you will walk with me and take a look at this. So right now, we have a village manager who's on suspension, who's currently still being paid by the village of Maywood. So we're going to bring in an interim village manager. We're going to pay that person as well, right? And so, again, these are your tax dollars that we are spending, and it's going to waste. There is a way to do this that can save taxpayers dollars, and that way is very simple. With someone who has the experience, someone who has served in the capacity, and this is where it boils down to personality versus principle. So are we leading with principle here? We will go with the individual who have served in the role before, who has experience, and that person is my example. We are operating in this town. This was founded yesterday. Maywood has been around for a very, very long time, and we've been through things like this before. And I just want to challenge the taxpayers to pay attention to the dollars that's been spent. They're your dollars. And so bring out your meter, because the meter is running and you're paying the bill for it. And I just want to say that because it's like that song. I don't know who sings the song, but they got me going in circles. and it's like, the words say, you got me going in circles. That's exactly what is happening. And the village of Maywood and your tax dollars are being spent on it. We have folks up here freestyling with your government, and this is where you all need to get involved, speak up, and stand up for what makes sense, right? And not for some of the things you guys have seen happening on this board. And so I will say again, like I said at the last meeting, we have somebody that's qualified for the job. There's no need to spend dollars. First of all, you're spending dollars on two managers there. Chastity Wells Armstrong, who's on suspension, and then you're going to hire somebody to come in and interim role that you're going to spend more money on. The meter is running, Maywood. The meter is most certainly running, and you're paying the meter.
We've been paying the bill for a long time.
Trustee Reyes Plummer.
Last time I checked, she denied the position, declined it. Am I correct? I'm just asking.
The chief did too, though, but you're still forcing the chief.
The chief declined the position.
Right.
That's not what I asked. I asked you the administrator.
No, she didn't decline it. No. I'm pretty sure she was concerned after she heard the mayor call her freaking practice about accepting the role.
Right.
Because the bottom line is, and this is what I'm more concerned about, and this is why you guys have to help correct this whole course that we're on. Because if you don't do it, and when leaders fail to lead, we end up in these types of situations. And so, again, when we had the meeting on June 4th, you all came in this chamber with a laundry list of items that included not only bringing back Clapton and Jenkins, but also bringing back Angela Smith as well. And so when you guys did that, had that on the table, you guys gave this long laundry list to Chief Willis to implement, which was out of order. Oh, it's just a recommendation. Oh,
Where are you on the agenda?
Yes,
So,
yes.
so for point of clarity, really quickly, I just want to address.
Wait, let me finish.
No, let the mayor take care of this meeting.
Well, you've said a couple.
Right, if I can just finish real fast. So I'm just going off the laundry list in regards to what we're about to do right now. It don't make sense in regards to hiring an interim village manager when we have somebody in-house who can do the job. Bottom line.
Okay. So before we go into this closed session really quick, what doesn't make sense is you continuously saying things that are closed session conversations. That's what you did. Did you just not say that? That's a closed session conversation.
Angela Smith is on the agenda.
So here's the reality. Trustee Brand. At the end of the day, we already have had the discussion in regards to the separation process from Chastity Wells Armstrong. There is no paying for two village managers at one time. That's not even a thing. And that has already been a conversation. The conversation of having Chief serve as the interim while we bring a more long-term interim in, to say that a director of finance can serve as the village manager for 3, 4, or 5 months while we do this national search is not a real thing. If you're going to have somebody as an interim for, say, no longer than a month, that's really what appointing chief was, a 2-week fix. Until we, trustee, I do not interrupt you. So when we sit there and we come and we have meetings and we're saying, the goal of interviewing 2 interim village managers is because if we're doing a national search, there's no telling how long this process is going to take. And no, a director of finance, or any director for that point, or a person who's hired to do a specific job in the village of Maywood should not have to take on an additional role for an extended period of time. We have it in the budget to have a village manager, so it's not your tax dollars are. We are doing a national search, so it's I don't understand the narrative that you try to paint sometimes. It doesn't make
know what
sense.
the process there.
Trustee Brandon, again, you continue to interrupt. But I just want to be crystal clear to the residents. No, there will not be 2 village managers paid for at the same time. If we're doing a national search, we most certainly are going to be doing this at a longer term period of time. It could take 3 months, it could take 4 months, it could take 6 months. So if we're doing this national search process, no, a department head should not be tasked with being the village manager that manages the day-to-day operations for the entire village on top of sticking to the responsibilities of their department. That should not be a thing. As we're talking about the director of finance has 2 managers. One manager being interviewed to come on board right now, another manager that's just coming on board. So you want her to have 2 new people coming into her department that she needs to manage and help get them acclimated with her department, while at the same time managing the day-to-day operations? That doesn't make sense.
Where on the agenda are we?
So we're going to go into closed session because we need to do that.
So when you come back, where on the agenda will you be?
We will be under the village manager's report, where we'll be discussing.
All right, I'm
public
gonna feed
safety
my
stuff.
kids and we're gonna be back. So you're gonna be on number
It's
what?
like 30 minutes. So it'll be 10A. All right, so I need a motion to go into closed session to discuss appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body. So need a motion? Motion by trustee Reyes-Plummer, second by trustee Sanchez. Are there any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Sanchez?
Aye.
Trustee Reyes-Plummer? Trustee Jones? Trustee Lightfoot? Trustee Peppers? Trustee Brandon? Mayor Booker?
Thank you.
Miss Bradley.
Like I said, this is my liaison here, so keep me on.
It's amazing because I would like to know how many you have never made a mistake and how many you can, you know, no matter what, do this. But I am so sick of these days, this level of what you do. Because everything is like that would be right. You know what? It's just like, don't, you pick up, it's what you said. I'm sorry, now look at what the word says, and the word is very true. Right. And right. And see, I'm sorry because I appreciate you. When you say what you say, that other people don't know. They're not privy to what you dealt with. You don't know. We had a we ain't passed this law. I'm very proud of Ursa. I'm very proud of her. I'm gonna fight him. I'm gonna rebuke him with a boy. But you know what? You love him. I'm sorry. Because he's business. To come back and say, what happened to my son? Who's on the ground as a So, you know what? See, you good to see it. This is my son, because I just get up there and they have to cart me out of here.
But she taught him well.
I know she did.
So you wouldn't even sue it.
No. He don't never. No. You all have a good night. It was good to see you. I'm sorry.
Where? My guy went over there. He went upstairs, they let him upstairs. So, but he didn't know where he didn't hear his foot. So, but if you want to go there tomorrow, I'm sure. You went home? Put it in and then take a picture. I'll look into it, don't I? Yeah, I was having 1 a.m. with my last. I got 4 days. And then I can say we just type up the notes tomorrow.
Yeah.
I guess it's an alley that he said that the boy ate somebody. Yeah, he said, and then he talking about some rock that he said. I see Otis. Yeah, I see him over here doing the side of the expressway. I'm express. I see. That's what I see the railroad. I saw him. What he doing? Talking about some guy that he had arrested because he came in line on 4 sides. Talking about he tried to get him to the other side. Which case was he ain't gonna make a concern. Hey man. I came home and got yeah, everybody because CCL implementation. Everybody got it. So yeah, on his side, everybody got it. So the problem that we have, all said that they don't have to tell the police.
You can tell how old we are, right?
But here's what this is. You might not be the registered owner of the car, the registered owner might not be. You might not. So they might come across and so we might want to bring this and say, hey, yeah, be about the registered owner has a CC. So the registered owner might be John Wayne. She might have a CC. She doesn't have to tell her. And we can ask a question. She still don't have to. It's just funny how this works. So what the circumstances that come about I had one of them. Wilson. I live in Focus. You're not because of fine. I used to have one, but we got rid of it. We got to get it. I take it. We both. We get your license. We get your $40. We do a clear presentation to the state. So it allows the state to do that. That's why we cover so much stuff. We don't do that. It's not. Can you figure 2 out of the 10 say the kid everything? Okay. They get on. You don't got to. I'm talking about just.
I wear a sign saying here. Yeah. So I'm see if I can find that much guy.
You see Ohio here? You see what Ohio here?
I was thinking I'd find that one because I got my
I couldn't believe what happened. June, I think it was June 13th. So we use government a lot. We know some better what we get from bags. We just took 5 guns. I didn't put that on. We took 5 guns. So what happens is we have to send them to the state first. They got the system in our cases. So we have to send them to the state first. The state fires, and then once they get into the AFIS system, they don't have a case. Some type of case attached to them. They don't have like a murder weapon or something. But then that actually case melted down on all kinds of. A lot of companies that used to do it don't do it. So it used to be in Indiana, Wisconsin, and stuff like that. So we don't know what now. We probably got 2,000. ATF is getting involved now. So ATF is fairly, we're gonna fight you out. Our first fight, I mean, the attack, guns that we found or whatever, people turn those guns over and see where they go from there. Yeah, that's a lot. So, you know, what we're gonna do, so we looked at, we talk about putting speed on this because don't break it because the way the driveway, so we talked to the engineer, got too many driveways. So we just look at, so I'm about to speed bumps tomorrow. That's easy. That's not okay. I'm about to. So I'm looking at, I saw these lights. I saw these stop signs like this. So I got money in my pocket. You want more? Yeah, the flashing stop. Not the one that goes all the way around. I saw this one. No, they had the flashing red and it flashes on the stop sign. And illuminated. Yeah. I saw that's pretty cool right now. It was small and it set way at the top. So it couldn't run. Right, yeah, you got some that got the soles. Yeah, this one's a smaller version. See, you know what? I didn't even look. All I saw when I was coming down to it, when I was coming down, it illuminated and it stopped. So yeah, so I didn't see it.
Right.
It's 16. We was dealing. These are residents that live on the road. We said we shut lock down on Sunday. So we shut. So what we didn't let them do, we couldn't go in people's backyard. Yeah. So what we did was we went into like anybody who had like something in the lots and stuff like you said. So like they try to do it, no, you can't do it over there. So I'll make sure we look at that more too.
That far. I drive right around here.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a joke.
So that's what I'm gonna do. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to light up. Because I know this. Because we went down. We had the guys come out. We went down. Yeah, I know. I see. And see, the only thing about North Maywood Drive, what we don't want to do is because we talk about putting speed cushion out, but we thought that they wanted to do that. The only reason why, because you know, a fire truck coming down that street, he got to go slow. He cannot go down fast down that street. So it doesn't yes, that's what we definitely gonna put more effort because you have a couple of driveways on South Maywood Drive. Yeah, that's down at about 15, about 14 to 15. That was the guy who still the catalytic converter. Yeah. So yeah, so that's gonna be the thing though. So we gonna if they should approve this stuff. So. That's what we want to do. We don't know. So that's funny you say that. That's what we had to ask Connie. Yeah, so we got a request in to them to ask them, can they put something around there? We asked them on there. Matter of fact, I'm not that you said that. I'm gonna follow. I asked them 3 months ago. They haven't got back to me. I'm gonna get back to them because you know in certain areas they fixed it. Yeah. So that's what I do, man. I put a request out there to ask them.
Yes, I will, Marshall. Yes.
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 Oh, you gotta finish the back part of the house.
Oh, you I'm the only thing. I'm a big bank credit.
You know the house is
Yes.
I thought
No.
it's not in front of the house, it's on the back of the house.
On the back of the house.
Right.
I just really find a contract. That's what you say to me, but that's the past. It's the past. Now, when I send y'all a bill for the restoration of my grant, because while your office is saying that's the fastest way, and then one said you can't do it. I could never do it. I could never do it. They said I can't prove it. She can't do it that way. One thing anybody knows about me and my husband. You see, I ain't got it all for us.
Where is he, of course? Where is he in the world?
They come in here to drive, they drive slap across my front there. Overpowered the
Gotcha. Yeah, I have a conversation. I know you and Tim Fred. I have a conversation with Fred. He gonna put the red light signs up.
Because there's a vacant lot, old vacant lot, such a vacant lot, right in there. You got your own path you can drive down. I take it out of personal attack. It's true. Because I'm old.
Nah, I think I'm off.
So, oh, yeah, they do. But I don't see them driving through the middle of the street. And to say that, I don't know if anybody lives there, I got flyers all over my front. You see my car park, my cousin's car park there, it's cars parked there often all the time.
Right.
So the second you don't know nobody lives there, and the grass is cut,
And so, because you're not,
that's disrespectful. And I've asked time and time again. Then
I have a conversation.
Then I can't put a fence down that side to separate the building from fences on the line.
I didn't know that until somebody told me that a while back. I didn't know the village did a lot of y'all
Yeah,
too.
some fences on the other side.
Yeah.
That's, I know, my grandfather went to I've been here.
They will.
Just generation on my family.
Tap it. Huh? I know. I did that. So they got us on the Omni bus too tonight. So they doubled up this week. They doubled because usually this be the Omni bus, which will be easy. But I see they put it. So I hope I ain't got a police bus yet. I see they put it on the Omni bus and everybody don't oppose and pull enough. We should be out. They're not opposed and pull. Pull nothing to discuss. Oh yeah.
Yeah, see you in a little bit. I'm still there. Yeah, none at all.
Well, that's the CCL, the law, like you said, you'd be surprised.
I'm blind.
Yeah, but you gotta remember though, you know,
No,
the law
you got
says
CCL.
you got a CCL must have a person.
Which means you can have it on you.
Unless they get
Well, see, so what we have, so we stop a lot of guys and girls, and they got the guns, and they smoking weed and they drinking, and that's what we start jamming on because of that. Because now they in violation.
have both of them together.
You can't do that.
Can't do that.
And then, because then, think about it, they legalize CCL, carrying on guns, and then they legalize marijuana. So marijuana, you know what, I haven't seen, well, it's been 2 years, I haven't seen maybe once somebody carrying their marijuana legally. Everybody else, because it's still sold on the street. We just did a stop. I was just because that is now. He could have told us he got it from municipal shit.
You can only, all you
Where
can
you
only
can
have
only
so
get
much.
so much.
Yeah.
You can only have so much on your
You can only
person.
have so much in your person.
Don't get me wrong, because you are, you know, and then they sent, I think I saw it once, and this guy, he had one of them more, yeah, that he spent like $70 he had told me that he had spent for it and stuff like that. So, yeah, but I didn't see it too much. I mean, everybody reached out, which is unfortunately, you know what, they carry me, I mean, it's street. Because what you can do, you can go in the city of Chicago. The city of Chicago still have what's called open street markets. So we don't have them out here no more. The city of Chicago still has open street markets. Now we ain't got open street markets. We got guys that might sit. We ain't got nobody sitting on our street. So they might do that and walk it up. I tell you, open street markets in Chicago.
Oh, I know they still have
You know, that ain't out here.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. We got people that still
Used to back in my younger days.
Let's try to bring it back.
All of a sudden, we start.
So that's what really is.
Chicago, you go right on certain blocks in Chicago, and Chicago PD don't even do nothing.
So what I always, yeah, so very good question. So what I do.
Yeah, so, but now, we don't have open air market. When I first started, we had open air market, 19 in St. Charles. You know what? I know he's talking about. He's not open. You know, he does everything off his phone. He got guys that come to him. That's what everybody does. Like, they call you.
Yeah, they have the Uber system.
Yeah, they can call them.
When you want something, I actually do it. I stood right after cutting my grass and stopped with my mom and looked at it. So your friend will bring, drop you off on the corner. Then those Uber will come and pick you up, take you down your stuff, bring you back. Then your people come in and pick you up.
So, it's funny how it works. That's why phones are so prevalent these days. So in the old days, our iPhone was so hard to get in, but because of the new law, we couldn't get to iPhones back in the day. Now, we get your iPhone, we can tell your whole business. You can tell everything. You can't lie about it anymore. We can get certain ones and we can get to them now.
They said 30 minutes for 45 minutes to go.
So what? Good right now.
Oh, I'm better than that because the 2 minutes from earlier was 19
Yeah. Well, it's huge because you know what? Because of the community itself. So we get emails on parolees and electronic monitoring guys come to our town. I just put a small snippet up there. Man, we probably got a couple of hundred. That's just small.
You know that's what I was saying? That's what I work with 30 years.
Oh yeah.
So work the main shook the man out at a work on the side.
And so then I can sort of try.
That's why I told them 40 years ago. I said, I'm letting you know that is both the department, the director, the person, and the former supervisor. This would no longer. They identified, before they came out, they went to state because that's why I started. They then identified any male between 18 and 24 who were paroled and not flying. They didn't have a GED. They didn't have any type of training skills or anything, employment skills. They made sure that by the time they pulled out of our facility, they had all that. And then they lined them up with Comcast, anything, their first 4 months for running. Outstanding. But you know, like they're playing one of those.
SSI knows.
If I was in residence, but I was reports for that. I was Blondell's the area I was looking because think that's the resources. Yeah. I think that's the resources. But have you met the supervisors there?
So here's what they do now, what they do in the area. So what they do is, at one time, we used to be able to do parole sweeps. Okay. You know, now they call them, I ain't gonna say they call them unconstitutional, but you know, but now the idea is really don't want to get involved. Cause we used to do parole sweeps all the time. We do that, but we can't do them no more. So now it's we do them sporadically. So you might have, so like,
but this is very big thing. Oh, and the other
Booker and two that's out here. We deal with them, so they'll tell them, and like I said, I get the emails and tells me, okay, here's the guy that's on parole, whoever he or she may be, but then, they'll let us know that it might be marked and ready to stuff like that. That way he or she is getting out 25 years in prison, killing somebody or whatever. And then sometimes there's about 10 when we make known, you know, when we know you here and all the other stuff. We don't have authority.
Southern counties, Southern Illinois, they won't allow sex offenders to move back there. So a lot of agents are going to be moving out this way. But on the west side, you got North Lawndale, that's a transit center, and you got Crossroads. The facility I was shipping in, it was called West Side of No Transition Center, but government plan, started pulling all the state facilities. We were one of them. North Lawndale and Crossroads, they're private. That's a whole different subject. That's a whole different privatization. But those councils there, they can pretty much tell a resident, by the time the resident gets to their transition, they got to have a parole part of the parole where you're going to parole gives an address. And they got to get out and investigate. They go facility until with a we got about 10 residents targeting the parole to your area. You got to be
I think the issue is now is because of the mass release of all these subjects.
What time is that day in?
I probably get on an average maybe 20 parole reviews So can you imagine? I just put that up. That's what that was a half a month. That was like I say, you got to let time out. That's a probation something.
Governor thought he was trying to save money by closing the facility. He thought electronic monitoring, which was supposed to be $5 per day. I had to explain to him, trying to silently save our facility closed. But he thought the $5, he thought $5 would be the answer. No, it's not that. It's not so much because now you gotta have, they put the burden. And you got each parole agent,
He's a big one.
parole
Booker is the supervisor. Booker lives in Maywood. Other brother lives. His name, he comes over here. As a matter of fact, he does lunch in one of our departments. He's the supervisor. So he's a big one.
You know, the district announcement board is trying to he'll get full. He's a I think this area this is
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Because I didn't hear, because I didn't work out that way. You know that there are some agents who are in this area, they are parole agents in this area. So, but see, talking about that,
Yeah, it's key.
Yeah.
You know what? We have to make sure we tap into everything that's funny over there. That has issues that come in. depends.
But they ready to do
We sit there. You know, and it's like, so the 8 guys, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying these guys and girls, they get so there was a, you know, I'm not saying I'm not putting across this or saying they get well, you know what, but, you know, some, in each case, the young man, who's that man? The one we arrested on, he did murder on second charge. He just got out of jail.
He just got out of jail for the same thing, but
for murder and come home and commit another murder. I can't think of his name, man.
straight from the big joints versus the transition center. What we said, we reduced recidivism about 40%. So for him to be able to say, so it's not that the whole way. That's a whole term.
See, that young man, so he predates me, so he had 25 years, so he his body died. So he goes to jail, he does 25 years, 50 years. He comes home.
yes, when he hit 25, it's going to be 80.
Put the young man over on
Right?
You got to stop it and start it again?
This one's going to start at 11:59, so I have to start on at 12 a.m.
for my birthday.
Why don't you just do 12:01 a.m.? Right. That a lot easier.
You know exactly what they're in store.
Man, I know his name. Henry. His name is, his last name Henry. Good brother. That's his name, Henry. All right now.
Good night, y'all. I'll see you.
Hey, Mom. right there and tell them, man, bye-bye, break it up. Stop on the door. Say, we ready to go.
I'm gonna go soon. I'm coming to the bathroom.
Where's the food at this time?
Wendy's and Oak Park.
Oh, okay.
Dropping all your change, young man. Here, I'll give it back to you. Here you go. Okay. If I'd have known we was going to win.
I didn't know it was Wendy's.
No, got the burger.
I was just looking for food.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd have paid for the whole thing. I'm so hungry. Oh, man.
I have an extra couple of chili.
I can eat a burger, so. And, I'm gonna have to stop. My castle, something gonna be open by the time I get up. I'm gonna have to eat. I ate right before the meeting, but being up, just hungry again now. You waiting for something sitting on the agenda?
I'm waiting on them to see how these people vote. But they're taking forever to do that.
Hold on, what's kind of chips you got there?
And whatever happens,
I don't know who they are. We're gonna do an interim building.
Right now?
They're going like here over all like here resume. Walk like you're going over the resume. That's what I think. I don't think it's going to accept them to the law. Instead of drop and or they may be on table. You can't speak on that. Hey, look, you got it more in you. I don't have a half of that. You want? Oh, okay. What she say? She got two? She got four. Life would have a bag on her.
they don't need iPads. They're so
$90,
$99 more than they need. And
When they gonna reverse those shit? Got to reverse you, man. They will. Watch this from the manager. You got a technical problem with it. All right. Oh, they died. Yes, they have to let her go home after this, isn't it?
That was before you brought it. Yeah.
We don't have a place to put it, but no, it's not too big. This one, on the way out. Thank
For a minute there.
I say that aggravating.
It was the cable. It was just going. And I didn't think I could hear.
What's the youth I don't think he went there.
So we are going back into open session at 11:05. Please call the roll.
Trustee Sanchez?
Here.
Trustee Reyes-Palmer?
Here.
Trustee Jones?
Here.
Trustee Ledford?
Here.
Trustee Peppers?
Here.
Trustee Brandon?
Here.
And Mayor Booker.
Here.
We have the quorum.
Okay, quick question, trustees, for the sake of time. We all see under village manager's report, and Chief, you let me know if you want to actually come and explain everything, or if the attachments would be suffice if everybody would agree to it.
Anybody got any questions? I'll get answers.
Okay, so item 10A 1, 2, 3, and 4 all have attachments, and all 4 are in the current budget.
Item 4 is not, that's a discussion that we have to, we can talk about. I didn't put a line item down for that, because I wouldn't know where that line item was coming from. That's something that I trust, to talk to that trustee. So with us, the public works, maybe we can split the cost from both departments or something like that. The only item that we don't have a line item for is attachments.
All right, so discussion, so 10A, discussion regarding Maywood Police Department proposal dated May 13th, 2022 for purchase of a distribution antenna system and bi-directional amplifiers to enhance the MHZ, Cook County STARCOM frequency and lower frequency of the police station from Chicago Communications per the invoice dated March 3rd, 2022 at a cost of $15,949.35. This is just for discussion only because I believe everything is on the omnibus.
Yes.
Right. Does anybody have any questions for Chief about 10A1? All right, 10A2. Maywood Police Department Proposal 21 for the purchase of solar Evolis digital street speed sign for Eland City per invoice 22663 dated 4/26/2022 at the cost of $6,499. Does anybody have any questions for Chief in regards to that one? All right, 10A3, Maywood Police Department Proposal 23 for the lease of 15 license plate reader units, high-speed computer-controlled camera systems for the Vigilant Solutions per invoice dated May 26, 2022 at the cost of $124,850, payable over 5-month terms, 60 months, with monthly payments of $2,316 at 14.3 APR interest.
Can I make a correction on that?
You said we're gonna pay it over 5 years, not 5 months.
5 years over a term of 60 months.
So, for me and the finance director, we did talk about this, so, well, our recommendation is instead of making monthly payments, you want to make annual payments.
Okay.
That'd be the only change on that.
So then we would, instead of saying it's still the 5 year, but an annual payment versus the 60 months. Okay. And then the 10A4 Maywood Department Proposal 25 for the purchase of speed cushions for the placement along North Avenue, Maywood Drive, and 19th Avenue from Traffic Logic Corporation per quotation QUO22801 Q584W0 dated June 7, 2022 at the cost of $30,667. So for this one, you're saying it's not currently in the budget, but
So my is actually,
she's working on it.
finance director is actually ready to do that, but I was still actually going to approve it now, because I feel it's something that we need.
So we
I
could-
think we can actually get it cheaper, because what we're going to do is we're going to do a test phase, we're going to address the pepper. We're going to do a test phase with it first, so before we can do that, then we have to make sure that the money's allocated in case we can buy at a later time.
So if we're looking at North Maywood Drive and 19th Avenue.
Well, we did a little change on that too, so I'll be right up on that. We're not gonna go on maybe like this, 19th to St. Charles. I mean, 19th to St. Charles to 19th and Washington. We're gonna look at speed bumps on North Maywood Drive and South Maywood Drive, because talking to the engineer, Mr. Peter Hansen, because of the driveways, so many driveways on North Maywood Drive, it's not feasible to put the speed tables and speed cushions over there, because they'll be interfering with somebody driving coming in and out.
Gotcha. Okay, well then, would the board be comfortable with approving the $30,000 pending the direction of the Director of Finance? Okay. All right, thank you, Chief. All right, 11, Village Attorney Report. No report. Omnibus agenda, I need a motion. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Trustee Sanchez. There is a second. We need to pull. We need to pull for an amendment. Reinstatement. 12K.
And I had a question on 12K as well.
Yep.
Just while it's cool.
Okay. With that being said, can we please have the motion, sir?
12A, motion to approve the monthly financial report for June 2022. 12B, motion to approve the warrant list dated June 15, 2022, the amount of $1,293,194.16. 12C, motion to approve estimate number 101070 for $1,075. Estimate number 101071 for $5,720, and estimate number 10173 for $1,400, both dated May 25th, 2022, from J.G. Landscaping Services and Snow Removal, Inc. of Brookfield, Illinois, to perform landscaping services at the police station and Fred Hampton Memorial Pool. 12B, motion to approve Maywood Police Department proposal dated May 13th, 2022 for purchase of a distributive antenna system and bidirectional amplifiers, DAS/BDA, to enhance 7-800 megahertz Cook County Starcom frequencies in lower level of police station from Chicago Communications, LLC, per invoice dated 3/3/22 at a cost of $15,949.35. 12B, motion to approve Maywood Police Department proposal number 21 for the purchase of solar Evolis digital street speed sign from Allen City per invoice number 20-2663 dated April 26, 2022 at a cost of $6,499. 12F, motion to waive the competitive bidding process and approve Maywood Police Department proposal number 23 for the lease of 15 license plate reader units, LDRs, high-speed computer-controlled camera systems
from Vigilant Solutions LLC per invoice dated 5/26/2022 at a cost of $124,850 payable over 5 years, term of 60 months, with a monthly payment of $2,316 at 4.3% APR interest. And to approve and authorize the execution of a related enterprise services agreement with Vigilant Solutions LLC. 12G, motion to waive the competitive bidding process and approve Maywood Police Department's proposal number 25 for the purchase of speed cushions for placement along North Maywood Drive and 19th Avenue from Traffic Logics Corporation per quotation number QUO-22801-Q5B4W0 dated June 7th, 2022 at a cost of $30,667. 12H, ordinance approving the acquisition of property and the related execution of term sheet with the County of Cook, Illinois, doing business as Cook County Land Bank Authority for property located at 600 South 9th Avenue, with the term sheet attached as Exhibit A, and with a cover memo dated June 15, 2022 from Kleinthorpe and Jenkins, Ltd. 12I, ordinance approving a special use for indoor recreational facility use, 1007 South 17th Avenue, with a memo dated June 7, 2022 from the Maywood Director of Community Development, Ruben Feliciano. 12J, ordinance authorizing the creation and issuance of a Class C liquor license, temporary special event liquor license for non-village owned property to the applicant in the Maywood Park District for the 2022 Wine Down Wednesday special events to be held at 50 West Madison Street property. 2022 special event dates are June 22nd, July 13th, July 27th, August 10th, and August 24th, with Liquor Commission recommendation regarding Maywood Park District application for Class C liquor license, temporary liquor license, non-municipal property for the 2022 Wine Down Wednesdays dated June 13, 2022. We're pulling 12K. 12L, resolution authorizing the approval and execution of a proposal dated May 13, 2022 from the True North Consultants to perform professional services to complete a stage 1 site investigation of a leaking underground storage tank, LUST, at 1309 South 5th Avenue, and respond to a related IEPA notice for action project, and for the appropriation and expenditure of Madison Street 5th Avenue TIP district funds to pay for these services. Total cost of these services are $19,930. Cover memo dated June 15th, 2022 from KTJ. 12M is resolution awarding the 21st Avenue CDBG roadway improvements project contract to Triggy Construction Inc. 12N is resolution awarding the Maywood 2022 crack filling program contract to Denler Inc. 12O is resolution awarding the 2022 Maywood Sidewalk Program contract to M&J Asphalt Paving Company, Inc. 12P is resolution awarding the Maywood 2022 Asphalt Paving Patching Program contract to Schroeder Asphalt Services, Inc. And that's it.
All right, are there any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Sanchez?
Aye.
Trustee Reyes-Plummer?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Ladford? Trustee Pepper? Trustee Brandon? And Mayor Booker.
Aye. Okay, all right, so we are going to do on this agenda.
I have a question on 12K.
We're going to discuss on this agenda 12K, which is a resolution authorizing the approval and execution of reinstatement and release agreement by and between Angela Smith and the Village of Maywood with the cover memo dated June 15th, 2022 from Kleinthorpe and Jenkins. Trustee, prior to you having your question, can we hear from the attorney in regards to why we needed to pull it in the first place?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. This agreement cover memo was prepared by our office, and the attorney who prepared it, Carlos Arroyo, contacted me today and said he had learned subsequent to preparing it that that Ms. Smith assuming the intent is to make her whole for the time that she was terminated from the village, that she would need to pay into IMRF her contributions that she would have made during her time away. Those would come out of her back pay pursuant to the reinstatement, but there is a village match of those benefits, and so that's kind of beyond what was in the agreement, and I just wanted to note that if it's the will of the board that village match be included as part of the agreement, we will do that.
Mayor.
Trustee Brand.
Okay. So, in regards to this whole situation right here, and so at the last meeting that took place on June 4th at 10 a.m., Mayor, when you read off this laundry list of items that you then turned over to Chief Willis to execute on, and it appears that that has happened based upon evidence. This Angela Smith thing did come up. And so when you guys were having this conversation, I just remember the previous conversation from some of my board colleagues in regard to the whole idea of Ms. Smith even coming back at all. So it seemed like this board has had a change of heart in that regard. And so when we were talking on June 4th, and I wish I was at that meeting, but I was via phone, about this particular item, Mayor, you have suggested or communicated that Angela will come back in the form of the planning person to replace that person. So now on the agenda tonight, what I see is that she is going to now be coming back in the role of as community development director. What I have, I guess the hugest problem that I have with this is, again, it's a process of how we are conducting business here in the village of Maywood. And so what happens in regards to the form of government that we have, which is the village manager form of government, the village manager hires the employees. We are only responsible for one employee, and that's the village manager. But it appears that we're trying to circumvent the process and still be the village manager. And so this is what I have a problem with, because we say we want to move forward together and all of these other quotes and all of these other things. That's not the case. That is not the case. What is the case is we really have a mayor who wants to be the village manager. And this board is failing to correct the actions simply because we haven't addressed the elephant in the room. And so tonight we have Angela Smith down here on the agenda. And I remember the conversation that we had very clearly when we were having the conversation. And I remember who said what and when they said it and how they said it. So when we were having the conversation, actually I advocated for her. But some of my colleagues didn't think it was a good idea and said she should not come back in the role. But you guys have her down on this agenda to come back as Director of Community Development. And so I guess where we're a little complex is, when did we change the direction of where we were going with the position, and who was that communicated to? And who made that decision as well? So Chief Willis was given a larger list that I guess you all came to the table with in regards to putting together or constructing, as far as, you guys had climbed over Jenkins down there, bringing back Angela Smith, and at that time on the paperwork it said in the planning position. And one of my colleagues mentioned that they didn't want to see her come back in the role of community development director. And so I'm just trying to figure out, where did the wires get twisted from that meeting that took place on June the 4th at 10 a.m. in the morning? And who made the decision to switch up the position in which now we are directing her to be in? So when did that happen? How did it happen? Who's involved in the conversation? Because I definitely wasn't involved in the conversation. I haven't missed a meeting since I've been on this board. But it appears yet again, that this board is failing to do its job and to lead and to be involved in correcting the course that we're on. Because we're back at this meeting, and now the game plan has switched up again. Oh, now we're going to put Angela in the role as community development director again. And this was drafted on the 15th of June. Who gave the direction? When this board, those who voted on it, gave direction to Chief Willis to bring Angela back in a different position. So that is what I want to know. I wasn't part of any conversations. I don't know how it went down. And this whole vibe that is happening here is not correcting any of the behavior that has been happening for the past 9 months. And we continue to sit back, sit on our hands with our heads in the sand. Like we don't see it. Oh, we don't see it. We don't see nothing wrong. Oh, it's a whole lot of stuff that's wrong with how this occurred and who put this on the table. That is not our job. We're legislators. We don't hire employees. And if you want to be honest and truthful, the correct way, how this should be corrected is to allow for us to finish up the process that we have before us when dealing with Manager Chastity Wells Armstrong, allowing whoever is going to come in that seat after her to be able to come in and get a full grip on things and be able to properly assess where the village is at and properly interview on their own without any interference from anybody on this board, because it's not our jobs. That is not our jobs. But we continue to operate out of order, but yet y'all say you want to correct things in the same instance. And it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And again, we're operating as if this community was founded yesterday. And that you all arrived on this board. And we don't know what we're doing. We're just up here freestyling willy-nilly. Every day, all day. That's what we do. So again, we continue to be out of order. This whole thing was out of order. How it was even brought to the table was out of order with this whole laundry list of items that you turned over to Chief Willis, just simply out of order. And you guys have no desire to correct it. And this is going to continue to be out of order. And we're going to be back here yet again, wasting taxpayers' dollars. Whoever comes in as village manager. Whoever comes in as village manager. Because this whole process won't work. It will not work. And I just encourage my board colleagues to grow some leadership yet again and be the leaders that the community elected you to be and to do your jobs. And this is not your job. And to stay in your respective lane, because that's how we arrived in this entire mess from the beginning, that we were sitting back, well, I want to sit back. Some of you all were sitting back and allowing one person to run a show. And now it's costing the village and the residents as well. So that is what I want to say in regards to this matter. It is out of order yet again. And, I want to just, two of my colleagues say, but I am not interested in hiring any employees. That my job is. And if we do this, we're going to continue to create this culture of this is just what we do. And it's just all out of order. So if we want to correct it, let's correct it. But I'm just see which direction you guys go into and see if you guys are really about correcting this course or you guys are about continuing the chaos and calamity that you guys got to see.
Thank you, Trustee. So to be clear, I don't know what meeting you were a part of. So the closed session conversation that you again have now made public literally was for Angela to come back as a director and for the current role that is planning and zoning coordinator to be created as a village planner role for Ruben Feliciano. That is what the conversation was. I'm most certain, why would I have Angela, who has worked in community development for over 20 years and served as a director, come in under no disrespect to Ruben whatsoever, but a person that I literally let you talk the whole time. But you can't. You're miscommunicating, right? But why can't you just allow me to speak? No matter what you spew, I allow it to go. Can you please allow me to talk, Trustee? I literally give you respect every single time you go.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, the conversation was literally to bring Angela back as a director and Ruben to have a role created as village planner, because the role of village planner doesn't even exist right now per our ordinance, per our budget, per the department. So the planning and zoning coordinator role was to be created into a village planner role for Ruben. Most certainly not for Angela to work under Ruben, who, with all due respect to him, had never even worked community development for a municipality. So that is totally wrong. It was the closed session that we had as a recommendation to bring Angela back, stems back from a conversation of where we never asked for Angela to leave in the first place. And it was never the desire of this board for Angela to leave in the first place. So when you say my board colleagues, I'm gonna refer back to even you wanted Angela left alone and not fired. So to be clear on that, the conversation in closed session literally was the recommendation to bring Angela back as director, recommendation to create a role of village planner to offer Ruben. Ruben has since resigned because he's taken another role with the Illinois Department of Human Services. That is that. To sit here and think that you would say the next village manager needs to pick the director of community development. When we have community development projects going on right now, every project pretty much that I mentioned today, all 10 of them, Angela Smith is still working on them right now. She's a consultant for the enterprise zone. Every last one of those projects for the village of Maywood, Angela Smith is still a consultant working on right now. There is Trustee Brandon. I swear I do not interrupt you when you talk.
Go ahead, lie.
So for me, it's not a lot. The 84,000 square foot Maywood Drive, Angela's working on. ADW equipment, Angela's working on. Aetna Solutions, Angela's working on. The 100 unit senior living, Angela's working on. She's working as a contractor under the enterprise zone that is managed by the 4 mayors. That's not speculation, that's a fact. You would rather the role go 4 to 6 months vacant versus having the person who was in the role that none of us asked to be fired in the first place come back to the role. That doesn't make sense, trustee. So what we're talking about is a release and reinstatement agreement. We're not doing interviews, we're not hiring. We're literally, as a board, which is our job, agreeing to key terms of an agreement that is a legal document that we as a board have to agree to. Same reason why we're talking about her back pay of 3 months, 4 months now of IMRF. That is not within the village manager's scope. To pay her back pay for 3 to 4 months is not within the village manager's scope because it rises above her $5,000 threshold. So that is why we as a board are sitting here discussing exactly what it says, a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a reinstatement and release agreement by and between Angela Smith and the village of Maywood. Because it exceeds the $5,000 scope of the village manager. So we as a board have to agree to it and vote on it. I really don't want to go back and forth. If everyone's okay with this, unless there's any other questions, can we get a motion to approve?
Mayor.
Moving to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? There's a motion on the floor, Trustee Brandon.
No, okay, motion, second, call a question.
Okay. Are there any? Motion by Trustee Lightford, second by Trustee Brandon.
Question.
Trustee Brandon.
Thank you, yet again. So Mayor, what you just stated was a blatant lie. And you continue to lie. And they continue to go along with your lie. At the meeting that I called in for, that you guys called less than 24 hours.
Trustee Lightford.
Did you call less than 24 hours that I attended via phone because I had to work? You guys stated in that meeting that you all wanted Angela to come back in a planning position, not that you was creating another role. So don't lie, and that's why I attend all the meetings so I can hear the truth for myself. And these folks was in the room, they go along with you and continue to lie. But that's what the case was. And I have one of my colleagues who's on this dais stated that they did not want Angela to come back as director. And she stated that very clearly. She won't be coming back, not as director. Those were the words. And so, what gets me, what gets my blood is when I know the truth is, and you proceed to lie and mislead folks. Because that's what you're doing tonight. And that's why I attended that meeting, and I knew I had to attend, just so I could hear everything that you were laying down. It is out of order. It is not our job to hire employees. And that is exactly what we are doing. We're out of order. We're out of order. And you got everybody else out of order with you. That follow behind you. It is simply out of order. It is not our job to hire employees, and what we're doing this evening is simply out of order. And people can act like they don't know, or pretend to not hear what is happening, but I am well aware of how this government is set up and how you want to operate. And you want to be the village manager. That's exactly what you want to do. You should just apply for a position.
Great. Clerk Williams, can you please clarify?
Yes, just a clarification on the meeting that the trustee Brandon is mentioning. In the minutes, it was not stated for you guys to bring Angela back as a planner. It was just as the mayor has stated. So I'm not sure what you heard, but that was not what's in the minutes.
Deputy Clerk Clatter, that was actually in the
Those
meeting.
were in the draft minutes that I just supplied to the Attorney General's office for a PAC inquiry about an illegal open meeting that was held on June 4th. So those tapes and those minutes were forwarded to the Attorney General's office. As you have stated and as Clerk Williams has stated that Angela Smith is to be brought back as Community Development Director.
Thank you. Did any other trustee that was actually in the meeting want to chime in? Because we have a clerk and a deputy clerk after everything that you just went through with your whole show.
And you all in cahoots apparently. That's what
Well, the vote is what was in the vote, trustee. Just to be clear.
Do what you want to do.
So there is a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Just for clarity, it's including.
Oh, and this is including.
And then y'all gonna pay her back. Go ahead. Maybe run up the bill.
Be clear, you were ready to pay her a separation agreement. So why wouldn't you give her back pay?
What?
Oh my God.
What are you
So, Trustee Lightford,
Pay the bill.
can we amend the agreement
Run it up.
to add her IMRF fulfillment?
And
All right, and then, so there's an amendment to include the IMRF. We can't go into question.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, I have a question.
And then Trustee Reyes Plummer, are you seconding the amendment to include the IMRF fulfillment? Oh, Trustee. Oh, Trustee Brandon, the second to include the IMRF fulfillment.
No, I'm going against it all. I just second to have a comment on that.
Yeah, I mean, this seems like we don't need to have this conversation right now. Does this need to happen tonight?
Well, yes, because we currently, Ruben's last day is in 3 days. Angela has work to do. There are multiple projects such as the TIF zoning that we haven't been getting done, that needs to get done, such as all of the projects that Angela is only working on an enterprise zone capacity, such as the project that is sitting on 1200 South 5th Avenue that needs to get done, such as 9th and Washington that needs to get done. All of the developers that are developing right now, I don't know if you've driven past First Avenue, but it's needs some work and it's a little standstill at Bloody Bear. I don't know if you've driven past Roosevelt, but there's a little work that needs to be done at the Shell gas station. We definitely have an expired Class 8 where we have an issue with one of our people who are with 3 businesses that are currently getting tax exemption that needs to be dealt with. We are currently on hold for over multiple properties that have been sitting with the Cook County Land Bank and legal holdup. And these are all things that Director Smith was handling before she was fired without cause. So, Trustee Reyes Plummer, Trustee Lightford submitted an amendment to his motion. I need a second. And if we can get a second on that, then we can answer a question.
This was a couple.
Well, he withdrew his second because it was only for discussion.
All right, I'll second it, so you get.
Okay, second from Trustee Sanchez. Trustee Reyes Plummer for question.
Okay, just for clarification, she hasn't been paid since she's been fired for
Her separation
back
agreement
pay.
check was never paid.
Was never paid. So basically, we're gonna go ahead and pay her for the 3 months that.
She was fired without cause. Attorney Mars.
That's your opinion. She was fired.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add to your point about this, the hiring, that this is not like an employment agreement, it's a reinstatement and release. So she's releasing any claims she may have against the village and being reinstated and made whole as part of that. So it's a little different than your typical hiring situation.
Mayor, Trustee Sanchez.
So, question for the attorney. So what you're saying is that now, because we reinstate her, she can no longer, if she were planning to seek litigation or further pursuit of a lawsuit, she would no longer be able to do it?
Correct. This agreement provides that she's going to it's a covenant not to sue, waiving any recourse against the village relative to the firing, and a release of all claims.
All right, can you please call the roll?
So this is back pay thing.
That's it.
What's that? This whole back pay thing, because she hasn't been working, so we're going back there for what exactly?
Because she has pending litigation against the village for being fired without cause. We know this. Come on, y'all. Please call the roll.
Please, Trustee Sanchez. We haven't settled anything.
She asked for additional.
It's too late. Please call the roll.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Trustee Reyes Palmer.
Come back to me. You know, she asked for it. Can you come back to me?
Trustee Jones.
No.
Trustee Lightfoot. Trustee Pepper.
She didn't, we agreed to it. Well, we settled it based on what she requested from this board. We did do that.
It's not settled.
Why would we?
Let's go ahead and hold, that's why it's not settled.
Yeah, you need him.
That's why I wasn't settled, because he had it on hold. But we settled it based on what she requested from this board.
You got to settle it.
You're a liar.
Mayor, can I finish the roll?
Please finish the
Can I start over?
Yes.
All right, roll call vote from Trustee Sanchez. Trustee Reyes Palmer.
No.
Trustee Jones.
No.
Trustee Lightfoot. Trustee Peppers.
Literally agreed on this. You said yourself, Angela, should have known that.
Yeah, the question is the motion.
So, we are in the middle of a vote. So if the vote fails, then you can ask a question and then we can make a new motion and do another vote. Am I saying that correctly? So if he's a no vote, if he's a no vote and he asks this question and it suffices him, he can bring it back as a motion because he was not motion that voted
There's
down.
a motion to reconsider because he was on the prevailing side.
Correct.
Which was the failure.
Okay.
Trustee Peppers.
No.
Okay.
Trustee Brandon.
No.
And Mayor Booker.
Yes.
Motion fails.
All right. Trustee Peppers.
All right, let's move on. We got this on
No,
the agenda. We don't want to talk about this all night.
Trustee, he said he had a question.
Okay.
So here's the reality. In the middle of a vote.
He has to make a motion and then ask a question. He cannot have a question on the item that just failed.
So there most certainly can be a question before a motion is made.
Right, if he has a motion, there's a motion.
Trustee Peppers.
Yeah, it wasn't enough clarity to me on the settlement because we did verbally agree on the settlement here at the meeting, and then it wasn't executed. So there was a gray area there tonight, and there wasn't any clarity, and I wasn't allowed to ask a question during the vote. So my vote was no, according to that.
Gotcha. So to provide you clarity, what we
Because
I can answer the man's
Point of order.
Can you guys please get into a point of order? So the reality is, yes, we did vote for the separation agreement. Yes, as a part of the separation agreement was added, at any point in time, if she returned, she would have forfeited the funding that she was provided as a part of the separation agreement. Yes, I did sign that separation agreement once we voted on it and talked about it. The check has not been cut. So let's be clear, I only signed the checks, I'm not the butcher. So let's be clear. Once I signed it as the mayor, it went back to her legal. It had to go to, at the time, Olson and Sturt legal, because my job was to sign it, file it with the clerk, and have it sent to legal. Somewhere between Olson and Sturt legal and her legal.
You've been sending stuff on.
Look, at the end of the day, there's been no check cut. And it's not on me. The check, it's not like the check just sitting on my desk and I'm refusing to sign it. There's been no check cut. So the reality is,
Bring it up in another meeting.
no, in the village, we need Angela's back. So for one of the votes that voted no, because we have not gone to the next item, we literally have like several things that are falling through the cracks, guys.
But they don't want to talk about it right now.
Yeah, it's over. It's over. Move on. You chair the meeting, we said move on, move on.
So I want to be clear. You guys are okay with,
We already voted.
Trustee Jones and Trustee Brandon, if you please.
It's 11 o'clock, sir, I gotta work the job.
If you would please.
Let's go.
We don't have another board meeting until July 19th. You guys are okay, even though the conversation was never to get rid of Angela from this board. I just want to be clear. So my question is, for a point of order, and then honestly, I'm going to move forward with it. But I literally just gave a laundry list of things that are falling through the cracks. So with that being said, knowing that we don't have another board meeting for a month to even consider it, for any of the trustees that voted down, now that there's clarity that there was no check cut, I did sign the separation agreement and it was sent to legal. Where it lied and where it went from there, I do not know because I'm not Olson and Sturt. But when I was provided the document to sign from the clerk's office, I signed it. With that being said, understanding everything that the Village of Maywood needs and understanding that everything that we as a board already know. For anybody who voted this down, you can most certainly bring it back to a vote.
Can we move on?
So before we,
Bullying us, man.
I just
what you said.
I just want to make sure that y'all are okay. I'm not bullying you.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
I just want to be clear. I really want to. It's over. All right. So, all right. New business 13A. Consideration and approval of the motion to waive the competitive bidding process and approve quote Q77608 from Culture Amp platform 3-year subscription, engagement and effectiveness self-starter in the amount of $250 over bill of a 3-year period for $6,750. Are there any questions in regards to this, or would somebody like to make a motion? So if there's, yeah, I mean, you just moved, yeah. Are there any questions? The engagement platform report is there in your attachments. The agreement is there in the attachments. Are there any questions for the Director of HR?
It is budgeted. Yeah, we're going to do the budget.
So can I get a motion?
Finance.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Trustee Brandon, second by Trustee Jones. Are there any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Trustee Reyes-Plummer.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot. Trustee Peppers.
Aye.
Trustee Brandon.
Aye.
And Mayor Bowler.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right. 13B, consideration and approval of motion to approve Klein Clerk and Jenkins letter regarding schedule of hourly rates and costs for legal services dated June 10, 2022. Need a motion. Motion to approve by Trustee Lightfoot. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Trustee Sanchez. Are there any questions?
Question.
Trustee Brandon.
Again, I just want to state for the record how we arrived here. It should have been an open process, allow other folks to apply for the contract. It should have been open. And so, we continue to say we want to correct the process, but still operate in the same manner. we would never move forward together if we're not correcting, what got us in this current position to begin with, for the record.
Trustee, for the record, you all authorized and just paid for a nearly $100,000 investigation that found that their firing was without cause.
You better not say it's our fault. It's your fault.
I just want to
Your
be
fault.
clear.
Your fault.
Trustee, can we please get into point of
You
order?
better own your shitstorm. Own it. That belongs to you.
You got children in the room, trustee.
That's right. I brought them here so that they could check out this process, and so far, yeah.
Okay. Trustee Reyes, did you have one?
Yeah, I had a recommendation, I believe, last time when we met, and I said that, or recommended that we can bring them back for a short-term period till we find another lawyer firm that is not biased, non-biased to the board, due to,
So right now, their rate is $25 an hour cheaper than Olson and Starks was. We just need to actually go forward.
Well, I just want to make sure that that's still the recommendation on the board as well. That's all. Or on this item, that's all I want to do. Because it's not supposed to be a long-term contract. It's only supposed to be till we find someone else. That, like I said, that's nonpartisan, non-biased to the people on the board.
Okay, so then consideration and approval for right now would be for them to be our legal firm as we conduct the search.
Okay.
I have a question.
Trustee Peppers.
How are we conducting the search?
That wasn't that would be up to you guys. I didn't recommend that.
Mayor, really, the village manager.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't recommend that search. So that will be totally up to the recommendation, if it's a majority of the board, to direct whomever we have as the interim village manager to proceed if that's the direction that they would so choose to go to. I think to get rid of a law firm that literally has, even in the previous administration, 8 years long, couldn't find one legal reason to get rid of them. They have 20 years of institutional knowledge. I didn't ask for this. I understand that that's the desire of the trustees, but that wasn't my task. So the process would be on the board to say if that's the majority thought process, we would have to then have a vote to direct. Right now, what's before us is the current law firm, and that's where we are today. Where we go tomorrow and what majority board, if there's a majority in thought process of that, that's a tomorrow discussion. Right now, we're literally talking about today.
My question is, whose thought process was it to bring them back temporarily?
So the only reason that it was lodged that they were fired was because of what was lodged in the report that everybody in this room got tonight. There was no founding of the claim that was made by the village manager. This board did not request the firing of Kleinthorpe and Jenkins. The village manager executed that on her own. So the reality is this board never asked for Kleinthorpe and Jenkins to be fired. The claim that she made as to the reason why she fired them was found unfounded in the investigation that we just went through. So that's where we are. I mean, why would you not bring back a law firm, or why would you not bring back anybody who was fired, and once the investigation is completed, it's found to be without cause?
Okay. Did so you putting all the, in reference to this cause of them being fired, in reference to the allegations by the...
Well, that was the exact reason in her letter.
But you haven't had anything in the past 20, 30 years in reference to them? From employees here, village employees, no complaints, nothing, and they just been excellent?
I'm saying that this...
No, I'm just asking you what I'm saying.
I haven't been here for 24 years. So I can't speak to that.
Right. I can't.
You know what I'm saying? But
I can't.
Right. What I'm saying is right now, the reality is the current law firm by this board was not recommended to be fired.
So why are we bringing them back temporarily? That's my question. Just answer that. I mean, there's plenty others we could hire by the hour, but why are we bringing them back?
Because they should have never been fired in the first place based on the cause of bias of one person. This board was never brought into closed session to discuss the firing of them. This board was never consulted in the firing of them. This board never gave a recommendation to fire them. Literally, the only lodge was intimidation, which there was no bias of it found in the report that we just released to the community. So I don't even understand why we would consider not bringing them back when there was one claim by one person that literally legally is defamation of their entire law firm to sit there and put it against you, because the claim was for one lawyer, not the entire law firm. So the claim that was made was against one lawyer that was found unfounded, and the reality is to sit there and fire an entire law firm definitely speaks volumes across the municipal community. And because they had defamation to them, we legally be liable in that. These are real realities that we have to think about. This board did not request Concord, Virginia to be fired. We never even had a discussion, never even had a say-so in it. And the only claim was from one person, about one person, not an entire law firm. So again, when you sit there and you think about the law firm that has been with us for the last almost 4 months, not one time on a board packet, not once. Now let that sink in and think about it. For the last 4 months, we have not had any legal legislation on a board packet to get approved. There are, again, I will reiterate, there are so many things that need to be happening legally for the village of Maywood. There is pending litigation that needs to happen right now for the village of Maywood. What you guys are referring to as possibilities, you're most certainly welcome to bring up at a later time, but guys, we have to move forward. And I feel like we're trying to get stuck.
Yeah, is there a motion?
There was a motion and there was a second. Can you please call the roll?
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Trustee Reyes-Plummer.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Lifer.
Aye.
Trustee Peppers.
No.
Trustee Brandon.
No.
And Mayor Booker.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. 14, old business, discussion and recommendation only. 15, Board of Trustee comments, discussion and consideration, location of Board of Trustees and Mayor's office. So just to give you guys an update, there has been conversation and discussion at the Village Hall. So the conversation and discussion was to put put community development where the 3 office spaces could go over where currently the mayor's office and community development is. Economic development would move across to the other side, and then we would move over to their side, close by the boardroom. So it would remove, instead of having the mayor and the village manager side by side, it would remove and move the mayor to the other side of the village hall. And then it would keep the village manager over as an office space in the large conference room space, and her administrative assistant right there in the desk directly in front of that office space. Then it would move the director of community development over to that area, along with the community retention coordinator as well as the planning and zoning coordinator. So that's been the discussion and conversation.
Mayor.
Trustee Brandon.
Yes. Out of order again.
I'm literally saying to you.
I don't know who's having this conversation and discussion.
People that are
but how the government is set up here in the village of Maywood. Some of us just didn't arrive yesterday or 2 days ago. But how the government is set up in regards to our office? Because the mayor just don't have an office by himself. We have a collective office. We choose where we want our collective office to go. In regards
we do not have a collective office, trustee. I want you to be clear. There is a mayor's office. So if there's a space for trustees that they're desiring to have, that is most certainly clear. Every mayor since 1881 has had an office. And it hasn't been a joint, trustee, let me remove all of my artifacts out of the mayor's office and allow you to sit down and have a conversation. That's not okay.
Thank you, appreciate it. So it's a mayor and board of trustees office, right? And so the mayor don't have his or her own personal staff person. That person is a staff person for the entire board. The office belongs to the entire board. And so, and this is why I keep challenging my colleagues, because if we don't correct this, you will still be getting the same results over and over again. And so that's why we have to correct this behavior now so that we can effectively move forward. This is how the government is set up. We have a collective office that we decide what we want that office to be, not you. And so That's the first thing. As far as the other offices is concerned, that is not on us either. That should be left up to the incoming village manager. And this is why I keep saying, and I'm a little bit confused as to, am I seeing something different? Like, am I seeing this from a different lens? Am my colleague seeing it from another lens? How can we see this like together? And it's called leading from the balcony, not the basement. And so, in regards to how this government is set up, and I think there's some difficulties with embracing this form of government. You run this show.